Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Bosch, and this is going to be my policy issue presentation video. The policy issue that's going to be addressed today is going to be Florida's mass incarceration issue. More specifically, is going to be the number of individuals that Florida incarcerates. The United States mass incarceration issue is already well documented, but Florida ranks third in the nation in total number of individuals incarcerated. Looking at the different contexts of this, we have an economical context, which is the cost that it takes to incarcerate these individuals, the governing context that it takes to not only go through the legislative process, but how citizens are affected by offenders either being incarcerated or being left into the community. And lastly, from an ethical context of how is this being treated fairly? Is this mass incarceration issue being deemed fair across the board? Is it being treated, all the laws affecting individuals fairly? So these are different contexts that we can look at in terms of individuals being affected in the context that they fall under. So for the criteria being used in this issue is going to be, first is going to be the administrative feasibility. So criteria in terms of ranking the alternatives, we have administrative feasibility, which is how likely is this policy be implemented in a fast and efficient manner and hopefully a cost-effective manner that legislators can roll forward. The second one we're going to use or rank in terms of criteria is going to be effectiveness. So how effective is this alternative in reducing the number of individuals incarcerated? And lastly is going to be equity. So how fair is this alternative? So the actual alternatives being provided are going to be first removing habitual offending and mandatory sentencing laws. This would directly affect the incarceration rate and would directly affect the individuals affected by these laws by hopefully tackling unfair drug laws in terms of first-time offenders. Second one is they'll reevaluate and ultimately evaluate our recidivism programs, and hopefully individuals that then leave prison after they are incarcerated will be less likely to commit a crime because they received proper treatment. Lastly is going to be using and tackling and reevaluating our intervention programs, specifically addressing the community and youth to potentially stop crimes from being committed to begin with or lower the chances to then not even have that offender offend in the first place. So for the criteria, each criteria, so administrative feasibility, effectiveness, and equity, were given a number of points that then an alternative could score in each respective category. So administrative feasibility was given 5 total points an alternative could receive. Then it was effectiveness that could give out 4 points, then equity give out 3 points. Habitual offending and mandatory sentencing laws received 5 out of 5 points of administrative feasibility because it became implemented fast and effectively. It received 4 out of 4 points on effectiveness because our goal is to reduce incarceration, and eliminating these laws would automatically affect individuals' length of incarceration, which would decrease the total population. So it would be very effective, very fast, but it only received 1 out of 3 points in terms of equity because it releases discretion back to judges. Individuals that may have committed the same crime may not receive the same sentence. Then we're going to have recidivism programs. Recidivism programs scored 4 out of 5 in administrative feasibility because we already have them in place in many prisons and we can directly look at them. It scored only 2 out of 4 in effectiveness because it's only affecting a small number of individuals in prison, but it scored a 2 out of 3 in equity because it would still be fairer because individuals would be given a chance to go to these programs and then not reoffend later on, so it'd be deemed fairer over the board. And then lastly, our intervention programs received a 2 out of 5 on administrative feasibility because it'd be so hard to tackle, incur such a cost of rolling out programs to affect a wide array of individuals that just tackling the issue to begin with can be difficult. But in terms of equity, it gives a fair chance to anyone because nobody has committed a crime yet, so we are removing our biases from the situation, hopefully. And it was given 3 out of 4 in effect, so a little bit higher than programs because if done correctly, it has the chance to affect such a wide array of individuals. So in total points received, doing away with habitual offender laws and mandatory sentencing received 10 points. Then both the recidivism program and the intervention programs received 8 points respectively. So the policy recommendation of this is to do away with the habitual offender and mandatory sentencing laws. While this may not be deemed as the fairest policy, is one that can be implemented fast, efficiently, and directly affect our goal or address our policy goal, which is reduce the number of individuals incarcerated. Now, looking at this from a public interest, mandatory sentencing and habitual offender laws are already frowned upon among individuals in the community, seeing that offenders are being treated unfairly. It will also hopefully reduce the cost of incarcerating these individuals, which then can provide a kickback to provide other public interests and amenities, specifically transportation, education system, so these funds can be contributed elsewhere instead of using to incarcerate these individuals. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for listening to my video.